Hi all, Jeanette here. Welcome to the Neal's Homestead. For a while we've been talking about getting a cabinet incubator. We bought all those ducks last winter and we've been selling the eggs at the market and doing pretty well with that. But since we're stopping our market gardening business, we're going to have a lot of duck eggs on our hands, and we have decided that we'd give it a try to incubate some and make little baby ducklings. And so we needed an incubator that would accommodate that. We've had a styrofoam incubator for several years and used it several times. In fact, I've got some quail eggs in it right now, but that's not going to be big enough for the amount of duck eggs that we have to deal with. We do have the Amish chicken auction that's not very far from us, that we can take our ducks, our ducklings, whatever age they are, there, and we can sell them, and I think that they would probably bring a pretty good price. We can also put them on the local farmers market Facebook page and maybe get some business from that. I don't know exactly how that will work, but we've got some options that we can do to be able to sell the ducklings. I started a search on incubators. I looked online to buy a new one, and they're fairly expensive. I mean, we were willing to cough up the bucks for it, but they run up quite a bit, more than $1,000 for what we wanted. So I started looking for used ones, and I did find one on Facebook. It was close to a 3-hour drive to go away to get it, but old guy and I, last weekend we went there and we bought this incubator. The brand we got was QGF, and I don't know what those letters stand for, but it's a pretty reputable brand of incubator. It's a cabinet model that I'll show it to you here in just a little bit. And we've got it set up, and I'm getting ready this morning to put some duck eggs in it. Stay tuned and I'll show you what's going to happen. Got the incubator set in the extra bedroom in our house, and it stays fairly consistent in this room because this is an earth contact house and this is the concrete block back side of the house. So I think this is an ideal place for it. We won't have very much temperature variation the way you can have in an outdoor shed or something like that. And I think that's very important to maintain the temperature and the environment that's equal for the incubator. It's a model 1502, and this incubator's been around for quite a while. It's fairly old, but I think that it has a good reputation for upholding its integrity over the years. It's very simple. It's just like a plywood box all the way around with the door that has 3 latches on it. Inside there are 3 shelves. I've got one of them out right now, right here. A little box that goes in there to put eggs in, and up here is where you put the water in this pan right here. The fan blows across it and makes the humidity work. On the side I've got a little thermometer stuck in there. Right now I've got the door open, so it's not an accurate temperature. Back here there is the control for the turner, and it rocks back and forth slowly, as it should. And so we're going to give this a go and see what happens. Somebody has written on the side that the temperature should be 100 degrees. That's a little bit different than my information that came with our styrofoam incubator. But the guy who I bought it from said that that's about what he's kept it. So I'm gonna take his word for it and set the incubator at about 100 degrees and try not to let it go over that and hope for the best. Hatching eggs is not 100% reliable, and we're just going to go with experimentation at first and see what happens. We're going to use some wise advice and do the best we can. My eggs are really fairly dirty. We had rain and that created mud that the ducks walked in, and then when they go lay their eggs they make them all muddy. Opinions vary on whether you should wash your eggs or hatch them dirty. Because mine seem fairly dirty to me, I'm going to wash them a little bit. What I'm doing is dipping them in water just to get them wet, laying them on a towel to kind of soak a little bit, and then I'm going to use a damp washcloth to just wipe them. I'm going to try not to wash all of the coating off that's on there as a protection, but I think it's highly possible that the bacteria on the eggs could cause some potential damage to the egg and maybe even to the little ducklings after they hatch. So I'm going to lightly wash the eggs and try to put clean eggs into the incubator. I'm using tepid water and I'm just twirling the eggs around a little bit, and then I'm laying them on that towel there. I'm just making them wet so that it can loosen, soak off that dirt a little bit. I'm not rubbing them while they're down in the water except to turn them. Then I'm taking a clean cloth and just gently wiping the dirt off. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. This egg is quite dirty, so I'm not even going to wash it to incubate. I'll wash it for us, but to eat, but I won't wash it to incubate it. I'm using egg flats to put into the incubator. The guy said that the incubator isn't coming with any racks, and so he just uses egg cartons. I have these egg flats sitting around, so I'm going to put them all in there, fill it up. I've discovered that this egg has a crack in it right there. You need to look your eggs over very well. You don't want to put any cracked, compromised eggs in there because they're not going to hatch and they will probably rot and make a lot of bacteria in your incubator. When you put the eggs in the carton and into the incubator, you're supposed to put the narrow side down, big side up, but sometimes you get an egg that you just can't hardly tell which side's up and which side's down. So I've decided to lay it down and see which side is lower, which it's really hard to tell. It looks to me like maybe this side sits a little lower, but that's the only way I know to tell which end goes up and which end goes down. If you're a viewer right now and you know a way to tell which end's up and which end's down, please leave me a message in the comments. The eggs that we got this morning are proportionately much cleaner, and so I'm not going to have to wash them as much. I might just, if there's anything on them, I'll wipe them down gently with my cloth. The eggs are all in these flats. I've got 2 flats already loaded into one of the trays. This is what I believe is the tray that originally came with the incubator, but for some reason the guy didn't have one of them, and he had manufactured this tray out of like hardware cloth. I think it'll work fine. It has a shelf in there that it can sit on, so it's secure. So I'm putting 2 flats of eggs on each shelf. There are 30 eggs in each flat, so that means there are 60 eggs per shelf. Times 3, I'll have 180 eggs in the incubator, and that gives us a good test. I'll carry these into that bedroom and slide them into the incubator. And here's the final one. I'm going to put it on the bottom. Okay, they're all set in there. They're loose, so I know that they'll be able to rotate. Okay, the directions are to put it on manual until the shelf is level. So it went one way all the way. Now I'm letting it come back the other way so it's level with this bar here. Stop there. Put it on automatic, which is down, and it rotates like that. So then you put it back up on manual till it levels out again. Stop it and then put it on automatic, and in 3 hours it should be at the angle that it will reach, and then slowly over the 3 hours go back the other direction. So it's a rocking motion that goes slowly back and forth. So we're locked and loaded. Before I put those eggs in there, it was saying 99.7. This made it cool down to 89, and now it's going to slowly warm back up. I'm going to try to keep it really steady between 99.5 and 100 degrees. Well, the incubator is all set up, and I am going to try really hard to be totally honest with you all in the progress of how it works. It's really tough doing stuff like this out for the public to see, because whenever you make a big mistake, well, you're just kind of embarrassed and you don't want anybody to know about it. But if you're trying to learn about incubating eggs, I want you to see the facts and how it's really going to work. As I said, I've had minimal experience with incubating eggs, but I'm going to try here, and I expect I have a learning curve to overcome. You know how they say, you got to pay for your education one way or another. So keep up with me as I do updates periodically. You know, the eggs have to incubate for 28 days, so I can't expect too many updates between now and then. But we'll see what happens, and thanks for joining us on the Neil's Homestead, and we'll see you next time.